If you want to learn how to do crazy stuff like this, make sure you guys stick around for the video. Hey, what up guys? We're back with a brand new video, and today I'm going to be discussing on why you're playing Venom wrong. This video isn't going to go any of the advanced tips or tricks or anything, right? It's just to make people aware of this, and the whole reason I made this because I saw CarQ make it, so yeah. But I actually knew this way before, a few weeks way before, but if you're playing him wrong, you are. We're just going to cut straight to the point, right? So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And I will be making an advanced guide very soon. It is going to be way longer than this video. It should be 20 minutes if you want to go into depth with this character as well. And if you're wondering, I am GM, I am Grandmaster, right? So, you know, just to give you a security and know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? So sit back, relax, and we're just going to dive right into it. When it comes to playing Venom, a lot of people don't utilize his mobility very correctly, right? And they don't know how to use it for some reason. And, you know, it could be because he's a simple character. No one really knows how to, do anything. There is a lot of really cool rollouts you can do as Venom, and this gets really neglected and it doesn't get talked about much. I recently saw a video on CarQ about this, and I already knew about this, but I was just kind of being lazy, but, that motivated me to do this video. But there's a lot of things you can do with your web. So the first thing you want to do is go to your settings and obviously turn easy swing off. If you don't know what easy swing already, right, is basically it allows you to have more control of your tendril or, the black Spider-Man, spider thing, right? And it allows you to do these attacks. Although you don't need to turn this out to be an effective Venom, right? It is recommended if you're trying to do these crazy rollouts, right? And these will actually allow you to have more control of your character. Same thing with Spider-Man. You don't need to. It's not really required for Venom, right? But you can do these insane tricks and techs with Venom, right? And it's super easy to do this. So we're at the practice range now, and you guys obviously know how Venom works, his abilities and stuff. I'm not going to go over that. I'm just going to go over this advanced technique. A lot of people, when they engage, right, they're going to tether to somewhere really high if they can, right? Go here and then jump and engage like this. This is actually something really wrong, and you shouldn't be doing this, right? And another thing I see Venoms do as well is they'll go to a corner right here, right? Or like, the side of a wall just right here, and they'll climb up, engage like this, right? And then use their web to disengage. Well, this is not bad, right? And you should be doing this very often. You shouldn't be using it all the time just due to the fact that there is a better way to have more control of your mobility. There is. Well, it is on a super low cooldown, right? One thing you can actually do really cool with your web, right, to make you have more control is when you web something is to look down and either aim to the left or right. This allows you to have more control of your character, but also you can literally go around this like 5 times. And you're probably wondering, oh, when is this useful? It is useful because let's say you're trying to dive on a squishy, right? And you mess up on your dive, or you feel like you're going to mess up. Doing this preemptively pretty much negates that. And it's really easy to pull off. It isn't anything hard, right? I'm going to show it to you right now. So all you want to do is grab, right? Look down, look up, and you'll have more control. You can head back and dive like that. You'll have more control. And I actually put a clip right now on the screen showing you guys what it looks like in game, and it can actually be practical. Venom, you want to go and dive into their backline and be a nuisance. If you can kill someone, that's amazing, right? But your job isn't to kill people, and that's where a lot of people get this thing wrong about Venom, is that he's not meant to be a killing tank, although he does have the highest DPS out of the entire tank roster, excluding just primary fires, and that's it. You need to play him just kind of like as a distraction hero. So if someone calls you out for kills, or oh, you're dying this many, you're that, it doesn't matter for Venom because his playstyle is a little bit different. Venom can be a solid point tank, right? You shouldn't choose him to point tank. You should be mainly diving their backline. But a lot of mistakes I see with these dive characters, right, especially when it comes to Captain America and what I've heard from the game, is that, oh, dive heroes should only dive, you should only dive. No, you don't want to play dive heroes and dive. You should never just specifically play a hero just to dive their backline. Well, yes, you can do that, and it is, you should, like the majority of the time, 75% of the time, should be diving their backline. You need to help your team out. You do have to remember that you are a tank. You are a tank, right, that can have around 2400 HP. You can take a lot of damage and you can suck a lot of damage, right? But also you can give a lot of ult charge. So the majority of the time, you want to be diving their backline, but go out and help your teammates. You can actually, with using this mobility tech, will actually allow you, right, to help your teammates out and to get into better and sneaky positions, right? The next thing you want to do is use your walk-in for your wall climb and your crawl more. You should be more often than not crawling than walking, because I see so many Venoms, right? Well, they have this little tendril tech. There's this little tendril tech where you can do where you just look at the floor, right? And it gives you slight motion, right? At the start of the match, so you can, get to point faster. Honestly, don't do this tech. You should do it sometimes if there's nowhere to latch onto, right? But the majority of the time, do not use this useless tech. Your web is on an 8-second cooldown, which isn't that much, right? But you do have to remember it's 8 seconds and you only get one of these suckers. So don't do that completely. What you want to do, right, is actually get to a high vantage point, right? If you can, right? You can actually do this tech as well, where if there's like a wall in front of you or this doorway that's just taller than you can actually clip onto it and then head forward. But the majority of the time, what you want to do is literally don't use this useless tech. The only time you should ever use this, right, is if you're really low, you need to get a health pack, right? And then, there's only 1 or 2 health packs, right? Or you're resetting and there's no enemy team. Then you should use this tech. Other than that, though, this tech is pretty much fucking useless and you're wasting an 8-second cooldown on this. It is not worth it. It is always worth getting to a high place, right? Looking down and controlling either left to right. The next thing I want to talk about when it comes to mobility wise is his main engaging tool, which is this dash, which does around 75 damage, I believe, right on the target if you hit directly, and it does only 45 around enemy, and it does a little bit knockback. Well, this is an amazing engage tool. You're using it wrong. While you can do that to engage, you shouldn't be using it to engage all the time. It should be a nice 50-50 split. 50% of the time, you should use it to engage. But the other time, you should use it to disengage or get into a better high point or advantage, because this can act like a second web. Of course, it's not going to be as strong as your actual web, right? But make sure you use all his abilities for mainly mobility. The strongest thing about Venom, right, is not his damage, it's his mobility. Being able to go in and out of the fight and just be super annoying, right, is unbelievably useful when it comes to Venom. And I would say he's a soft counter for Wolverine, and I'll explain why. So Wolverine, he completely destroys Tank, completely destroys you, right? And even the Thing. He's a Thing is a soft counter to him, but he's in a full counter, right? The reason I say Venom is a soft counter is when you are going against a Venom, you don't want to kill him. Okay, because you're not going to be able to kill him. What you want to do when you're going against, Wolverine, is distract them. Every time I get a new Wolverine, right, make sure he is always on you. You always want him on you. So let's say you have a Gru, or like you're going triple tank, whatever it is, right? You want to make sure the Venom is constantly on you. And make sure your E is way up all the time, constant, because he's going to burn you down. Even though you can produce a lot of HP, he can completely delete it. You want the Wolverine to be on you consistently all the time throughout the game, right? And if you can't do that, right, make sure you are constantly harassing somebody. It doesn't matter if you're harassing the tank, their backline. Make sure you're distracting anyone and getting everyone's attention. Another thing a lot of people don't like discussing, right, in like these because I watched a few of these, right, and a lot of people don't like talking about these, even though they're super, super useful, as this. You should be using your melee more. And in one scenario, it's this. When you are really close to somebody, sometimes you can't hit your tendrils, especially if it's not a tank, right? You're going to be missing your tendrils, right? It is better to use your melee because you'll actually hit your melee. When it comes to your melee, you have right, left, and then you have a bite. Your melee doesn't do a lot of damage. It's not like Hulk's primary, but there's certain situations where you should use this. And one of the situations is literally if you're super close and your target's super low, right, and you can't hit them with tendril because your tendrils are going in 4 different positions at first and then they come close, right, is this. You need to use your melee more. Obviously, don't make it your primary, don't be stupid, right? But to finish somebody off, right? Or even this, I've actually done this, right? And this is a little bit harder to do to pull off with Venom, but if you just clearly, let's say they're ignoring their enemy backline, right? And I've done this in a few matches, not that rarely, but this is actually one of the strongest things you can do with Venom is time avoidance. Basically, this is what happens. You can avoid their time to get to the payload. What you want to do this, right, is hop on a healer, right? And if no one's helping that healer out, it is better not to kill them. And you're like, oh, but what happens if they're going to heal? What happens if they're going to ult? Listen up. If it's the beginning of a match and they're already wasted their ult, right, make sure you just melee them, because if they're trying to fight you off, right, your melee is not going to be enough to out heal their heal. But you know what it's going to do? It's going to be enough for you to waste 20, even 30 seconds at times, right? And then after you're done meleeing, go for the kill, right? Go for your combo, right? and then you kill them. You waste more time doing this, right? Instead of just killing them out straight, right? The majority of the time, you do want to kill them because their team are going to help them, right? You know, but if you're in low elo lobbies, you want to do this because you waste so much time doing this, right? It is unbelievably annoying because they're getting pissed off, right? And everything, but also you get more time getting them out of the game. And that's the whole point of Venom is if you, as Venom, right? If you trade 1-for-1 healer, like you trade yourself for a healer, that's fine, right? But as a Venom, you never want to trade yourself for like a tank or like even a duelist. You always want to try to see if you can kill someone of importance, and mainly healers. If you can kill Luna out the game, Cloak and Dagger, right? Yes, you can kill tanks, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But the majority of the time should be harassing the healers. I personally think he is the best die tank in the entire game when it comes to playing Venom. But honestly, you need to put these things into practice because I see a lot of people not putting these things into practice, just here, there, right? They're not really doing it. Distract. He is not the worst tank. He is actually the best tank, but he's the best distraction tank, right? He plays a little bit differently than the others. You can point tank, right? But the majority of the time should be diving, but it doesn't mean you can't point tank, you know? So I just kind of discussed in this video, I just kind of discussed nothing advanced, but the things, the most important thing you need to do when you're playing this character, right? Obviously, I didn't go over any of these tags or his ultimate, right? Because you fuckers already know that. That's why you fuckers aren't here. You guys just want to know this advanced tech.